Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is Uliak. Uliak is the young boy who played the violin. He was part of the band that would play and march them, help the prisoners to march to and from work. And Uliak was on the run with Eliezer and his father, and Uliak brought his violin. The violin is a symbol. It's a symbol of hope for the Jews, right? It's a symbol of the same way that the man who yelled out when he was being hanged gave them something back. Uliak playing his violin at that moment of death gives something back to the Jews that had been taken from them, right? He chooses to play a song by Beethoven. The Jews were denied the right to play Beethoven because he was German. And you don't get to play German music if you're just a lousy Jew, right? And that's the way the Nazis would have felt. So Uliak, at the end, he's in that shed with Eliezer and his father being crushed, and we know that Uliak is trapped in there, and Eliezer manages to scrape his way out. He claws his way free. He fought for his own life, clawing at skin and tearing at it so that he could breathe, right? And we heard that part if you think back to that section. And go back and read it again. But Uliak, more importantly, he has his violin with him, and Eliezer remembers hearing Uliak playing his violin, and it was a death knell. He says it was a death knell. So it was a moment before his death that Uliak is playing it. And he plays a song by Beethoven, and it's so beautiful. And imagine in that place, in that desolation, then to hear Beethoven, and what that would be like. How the kind of uplifting that feeling of hope that it could provide. Despair at the same time. I mean, it's not a hope that's full of exuberance, right? But there is a hope in it. And then we see the violin crushed. And it's the last, and you can see that as the last hope crushed for the Jews. Shattered into little pieces, there's nothing left. And you see those men, they're asking to be left to sleep in the snow, knowing that they will die. Because there's nothing, their hope is gone at that point. That's just before Eliezer ends up at the other block and then is liberated, right? This is just before the end of the book, the last 30 pages. So really pay attention to Uliak and his violin, because that is that symbol of hope. And you can link it back to the same kind of hope that we saw when the prisoner called out, right? That was really important. The last thing to talk about, I'll do that last one, I guess.